All right, so this is kind of what I wanted to do with this stream. There are 30 questions of basically asking you about your own beliefs. Is agree and disagree are the two options. And we are being graded by this. So there is a test score. If I scroll down here, there's a test score, just so you know. So think about your answers. So there are scoring guidelines that's going to be available at the end of the stream, or not the end of the stream, but the end of the questionnaire. But we can talk about each individual questions if we want to. But basically, it's the question is there's no right or wrong answers. The only thing that this test is testing you on is how consistent your beliefs are. So you can have any opinion that you want. I'm not expecting, and this should be obvious, I'm not expecting all of my answers or your answers to match with each other's. Like, I can definitely reading most of these questions, I can definitely have arguments for both of these. But yeah, the whole purpose of this, again, the whole purpose of this test is not to have right or wrong answers, and so we're not going to judge anybody for whatever answer that they give. It is really a question of introspection that is trying to bring out in you. And so we are going to like review when we get to the scoring guidelines. We're going to review the questions because sometimes some questions can be asked in a certain way that is not what it doesn't mean. Like, you can hear the question differently than what it means, and so that might tamper with your scores at the very least. And also, just another disclaimer, I don't know who wrote this book. I think his name is Julian Bagani and Jeremy Stagroom. So of course, at least there is some kind of peer review. But yeah, I'm gonna try and answer the questions and explain the questions to the best of my ability, and I'm going to answer my questions, and I'll explain my answers, and you can explain your answers in the chat as well. And so how things will happen is I would put X for me. I would put if this is like the first question, I would put T for Tiela if she agrees with this, and I would put Rogue, or just initials of your names if we all agree with this. And so like you don't have to participate if you don't want to. I don't mind it just being me. Just so y'all know. All right, and anyone can join anyone can join when we review it. So like when we review the scoring guidelines, yeah. Okay, so first question should be easy, or is it at the very least easy for me. There are no objective moral standards. Moral judgments are merely an expression of values of particular cultures. Yeah, this is a fucking hardcore. This is actually, most of these questions are like, you just gotta have to do your best with how it's framed. So in one way, like I would, by gut, I would say that I agree, but at the same time, if you define very carefully what you mean by morals, you could get to an objective standard. But morals being, so by moral standards, I'm going to assume that number one is saying that basically I'm gonna imagine that the moral standards are just like convictions that we have, like as a society. So like I would say, of course, I agree with that. But there is a definition of morals or moral standard that we can make that that can make it objective, or very least very close to objective. So question number 2. So as long as they do not harm others, individuals should be free to pursue their own ends. Yes, I think they should be able to. So for me, I'm answering yes, because I am they should be able to pursue their own ends, but that doesn't mean that you can't encourage them to not do so. So we have agreed to question 2, both T and Rogue. All right. Question number 3. People should not travel by car if they can walk, cycle, or take a train. This is hard. You agree? I would say I agree too. I want more trains because I will say in my worldview, in the future, I will want there to be more trains so that we can more trains around my city so that we can be able to travel. So I do prefer walking, cycle, and taking a train to driving a car everywhere. So that's my answer. That's what my answer looks like. So yeah, it doesn't look like they're asking for a government intervention or anything like that. Would be curious to know what the definition of harm in the author's eyes. This is that's interesting as well. If it's feasible and it might, if that region makes a public transport a thing. Yeah, I would say so. Again, it really depends on the society that you live in as well. So if you're no, you can ponder. Take as long as you like before answering this, because this is testing you on if you're consistent with your morals. And so we would actually, for this to actually happen, we would actually need to live in a good enough society where trains, I think trains are reliable to work, but overpopulations can be a problem as well. And I guess in places like Los Angeles, for example, which is super fucking crowded, or even New York City, that you're not going to be wanting to drive a car anyway if the roads are super fucking busy and you're just going to be sitting in your car for a very long time. I think being able to travel by train and cycle and walk is fair enough. It's fair game. But we can ponder number 2. Okay, so let's ponder number 2. So as long as they do not harm others, individuals should be able to pursue to their own ends. So for the sake of argument, we're going to assume that harm means mental harm, physical harm, ways that things that are directly harmful. So not things that are not things that are more disconnected in some ways, I guess. Not by consequence, or by third-party consequence. So if I buy a PS5, for example, that means another person is going to not be able to buy that PS5. I'm not directly harming them. It's just my actions is just so happens that I'm gonna get a PS5. A person can care about a PS5 so much so that yeah. So we're gonna go for basic. Just try to go for the most basic definition of harm. Disagree for you. Finally. Wait, so you disagree on number 2, right? Are we putting you to number 2? Disagree on number 3. Gotcha. All right, we got some disagreement. I want that, by the way, disagreement. Just so we can see, because I imagine that I'm probably going to have some contradictions in my perspectives. Hey, but that's all right. All right, but question number 4. It is always wrong to take another person's life. I already know that this is disagree for me. So the way that I'm thinking about looking at this is that this is including taking another person's life to protect another person. So if you think that you should not be able to kill another person, this is just how the question should be phrased. But if you think by killing another person to save another person's life is still wrong, or you're like Batman, you're still unsure. Okay, we're gonna put you a little bit in the middle, or we're gonna say, yeah, we can say disagree if you don't understand the question, because yeah, a lot of these questions are phrased a little bit weirdly. So for question number 4. Is it always wrong to take another person's life? Disagree for the same reason, self-defense. We'll review it. We don't have to put it either way. So Tia, for question number 4, what do you think? Do you think it's always wrong to take another person's life? I felt my I didn't realize the questions were phrased like this. I hate these kind of questions. Life isn't black and white. I'm gonna play along. I agree. I'm gonna play along with it. Just as long as possible, and when we review it, we can actually go. No, you disagree with 4. Okay. when we review it, we're going to actually take apart the questions so that we can explain like what we mean by our answers, because I do think that is very some of these questions are very fucking boring. Like, hey, Fiction64, I look back on your last Wolfenstein 2 stream. It was awesome. I was also surprised you couldn't kill Hitler. It was, how are you doing furthermore? I'm doing good so far. I did have a little bit of breathing difficulties on the past weekend, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping up with it. I was surprised that you didn't kill Hitler too, because it's like Hitler's in the game about killing Nazis, and you're not able to like kill Hitler himself. That's kind of feels bad. All right, the right to take. Okay, so question number 5: the right to life is so fundamental that financial considerations are irrelevant in any effort to save lives. Another question that I have to steal, man. Okay, let's talk. So let's kind of introduce, like, phrase the question like this: do you think that we should, in the coronavirus, like with the coronavirus coming in right now, do you think that do you think that you should spend all of your money in your bank account to save a person's life? I mean, the question is kind of saying like that, like financial considerations are irrelevant. I would say no, because then that's talking about livelihood. That messes up livelihood. You do have to think about livelihood. So like, do you have enough money for to support your life? And Rogue, you say 5? I would say X. I would honestly say X, because I think the quality of life is I think that is important, as much as important as the right to life. But yeah, I think I would say that. How about you, Tiela? I know you're pondering. I know you have to be pondering on these questions, because this is awkward question for me as well. I think I agree, but I would put the responsibility on the government to fund that. Okay, so we can be talking about the government about this as well. So, T, you aren't gonna like my answers. Hey, no worries. We're gonna review it and we're gonna see. Voluntary. I can't even pronounce that word. I'm gonna fuck it up. Voluntary enthusiasm, whatever. The kill yourself drug. Should remain illegal. No, I would disagree, and this is with hard like respect, but like I would say I disagree, and T is disagreeing too. I think life itself is essential to focus on the experience of itself, not the wealth especially. But if that will bring the life to a better experience towards itself, then itself because of a better economy, for example, I am for. 6, disagree. If people can pursue their choice of life, death is no different. Okay, Rogue is there. And okay. And we don't have to explain our answers. I'm going to try to actually go down this list a little bit faster, so that when we look over our answers, we can actually explain ourselves maybe a little bit. And I think the right part of life, the part of the right to life, is the right to die as well. Death is a part of life. I agree. Homosexuality was question number 7. We're getting a little bit spicy, aren't we? Homosexuality is wrong because of a natural. Agree. 100%. No, I can't even do that bit. I can't even pretend to be homophobic. But no, of course, fuck you. And I might as well. Right. So I think I know. Disagree. So homosexuality is wrong. I'm reading that question right? Homosexuality is wrong because it's unnatural. Disagree. That is just factually true. Oh yeah. It is reasonable to believe in the existence of a thing without even the possibility of evidence for its existence. Oh my god. Okay. The reasonable is the word that I my gut says disagree. I don't think it's reasonable or logical to believe in something that you don't have any evidence of or possible to have any evidence of. But at the same time, if you look in psychology and what beliefs are supposed to do, beliefs are more of a guide, as is more of a guide than it is of anything else. I wouldn't say that beliefs are reasonable, though. Believing in something as a so you just said that's so you rogue is agree, and T is disagree. Is quite believe. Okay, so I think I would say disagree. Not that people shouldn't do things. So I would say I disagree that it's reasonable to believe in something that you don't have evidence for, or have any, like, be able to have any evidence for. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So yeah, I would disagree. Tectonic plates were fake. There was no reasonable proof at the time. So wait, so and we've confirmed that. Okay. So, but would that be reasonable? Well, okay, we can go over it when we get to the other question, or so they thought. Yeah, that is interesting, because it's like you do have some circumstances where you do believe in something without evidence, but then that thing. So like, it's like playing poker. If you ever playing poker and you think and you believe in some kind of I guess you believe in some kind of like sign in poker that every time you have a queen or pocket queens in your hand, which means every time you have two queens, that means that you're gonna win no matter what. And so if you have pocket queens and you believe that you're gonna win, and so you go all in and then you win, was that reasonable to believe? Science up until then had no reason to believe in it, please. But does that correlate to faith? I think faith, when I think of this questions, people don't need a reasonable reason. No, all this question is asking, the question is not saying, the question is not saying, should you believe in something that is, that doesn't have any evidence, is it? The question is asking, is it reasonable to believe in something, even if you can't have evidence for it? I think faith has been hijacked by dogma. I think, so here's another thing. When the scientists back in the past, when they believed in tectonic plates, you do have to ask the question, why did they believe it? I don't think that there's anything in this world that doesn't have a cause to it. I think human intuition plays a large part to a lot of the knowledge that we do believe in, but I don't think they just believed in tectonic plates for no reason. There had to be a reason, and if their reason for believing in the tectonic plates, for example, was, well, my sky daddy told me that it exists, then I would say, well, that's unreasonable. But if there was a reason or a stream of logic that would lead them to the conclusion that there were tectonic plates, even though they have never seen it and they could have never proved it or have any evidence of it, then I don't think that's unreasonable. I agree. I have faith gravity will exist in the next 45 seconds. That's interesting. Do I believe that gravity will exist in 45 seconds, in the next 45 seconds? I mean, yeah. But that doesn't mean that there's no reason to believe it, because in the past, all throughout your life, gravity has existed. It's been tried and proven over and over and over again. And so you're not believing, it's not really faith that you believe in gravity 45 seconds from now, because it has already demonstrated it's you. Yeah, it can be backed up. So for me, like a better analogy would be like, do you believe that in the next 45 seconds, you're going to be able to fly or see through walls? You've never done that in the past. So if you believe that, there's no reason for you to believe that. other than the fact that I said, like, I suggested it. And so, like, that is the difference. But I think by men of science, I who disbelieved it. Disbelief stems from misunderstanding, reasonable or otherwise. True. Yeah, I would say so. You make some interesting points. Yeah. And again, this whole test is not supposed to, it's only testing you on, like, how consistent you are with your beliefs. In Christian church, it was always, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I can't, to my dismay, separate that definition. Yeah, there's, they got me young, sure. I think, and I can agree. Wait, why did I agree? I meant to put rogue, right? Okay, we'll see. We can talk, because I'm pretty sure some of these questions are gonna either trip me up in the end with the results, or it's gonna trip someone else up. But for me, faith is the belief in something that doesn't have evidence for it. Because if it has evidence for it, it's not faith anymore. It's just like reason. But that shit can be applied to science too. Well, science is... So the whole thing about science is that I don't think there is any... you do have to be careful, because when a scientist is like testing for something or is trying to prove or disprove something, they don't believe in it, right? So if they're trying to if they are trying to test for a multiverse, for example, or for nuclear fusion, there are things that are in theory possible and very like plausible, but it doesn't mean that they believe in it. And so like believing in something is like believing something is true without any evidence for it. But yeah, those are the only two, like the distinguishment I would make about science and faith when it comes to that. But question number 9, we can move on. So we can go to question number 9, and I know y'all guys answer for this. The possession of drugs for personal use should be decriminalized. Wait. Yes. Agree. Anyway, right. Yeah, we can talk. T. I know Rogue, right? Like I don't want to assume though. Rogue, how about you? You might have your own, because we did talk about this for a little bit, but I don't know. You're agree. Okay. There exists. Question number 10 is: there exists an all-powerful, loving, and good God, and I do have to be careful about this. I disagree. That doesn't mean that I believe that there is no powerful, loving, and good God. Disagree. So T, disagree. How about you, Rogue? So the there's a further down in the one of the questions, there is gonna be something to clarify what I mean when I say this. So like depending on like how the person who wrote this book thinks, this is gonna be like might be a point in contention. But Tiela, if you ask Jordan what he mean, like you can speak for him too if you know the answer, or if he tells you the answer, so he doesn't have to type grammar failure there. The Second World War was just a war. I'm not sure what this has to do with philosophy, but for the sake of everything, like what is like, and you disagree? Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, but disagree for 10. Okay. Yeah, you can. By the way, you can clarify what we mean when we go over the questions, which we'll try to do. We're trying to get over this quickly so we can go over our answers and everything. Okay. The Second World War was just a war. So like I don't understand what this means. Was it just a war as in it was like nothing special? Yeah, I think the Second World War was not like there. We've always been at war. It wasn't like a war to end all wars. I suppose maybe that's what they mean. So like for me, if I'm understanding the question of the like a world war just a war, then I would like I would agree. Why are we making a big deal about this war? Um, Objectively speaking, it was just a war, and not all of the wars. Okay, that is interesting because the Second World War, Second World War, like the special thing about the Second World War was the fact that we nuked someone that like was basically using nukes on someone else, which I do think is notable in the war. I don't hear people upset about the lives lost in the Middle East. That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree. But if, like, the special thing about the Second World War, if that was supposed to be... If the only thing that was special about the World War II was the fact that we used nukes on someone that killed a ton of people, there's no difference than that and a person in the past just doing genocide by sword and killing that as many people as too. Why are wars that happened in Europe the ones that we make a biggest deal about? Well, maybe they go the war more. I don't know. Well, that's probably it, Rogue. That's probably it. Yeah, 9/11. And Bodhi, you can join in all this in the middle of things if you want to as well. But yeah, 9/11 killed 3,000 people. The War on Terror killed hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. Like, at the beginning, like, wars in itself, like, it's just, like, kind of the same, right? I'm going to be try to be as simple-minded or try to understand what this person is talking about, and say that the Second World War was just a war. I'm going to say no. We favor disproportionate responses. So. Yeah, it's because of the nukes, not only because of the nukes, but because of the genocide and because of like fascism and stuff like that, the fight against fascism, which I don't think past governments have been fascistic, but I think this was definitely not just the same. But Bodhi, you would say, or Bodhi, if you want to join in, you can join in too. So if you say with number 11, will you say agree or disagree? And Rogue, that's not the first case of mass genocide though. Yeah, just a war now. And got bold. Yeah, it's not the first case of mass genocide, but I would say that not all wars are genocide. It was a battle for global power too. Yeah. And that's probably the most true thing about it. Because you did have the Japanese fighting and the Banks won. True. You did have the Japanese. So from what I remember, the Japanese were very involved in that war as well. Like they were their economy actually skyrocketed, and they were kind of fighting for power and stuff. And so yeah, Japan fucked up China hardcore. Yeah. Next question, question number 12. In Rogue, you can answer. Just say answer like 11 disagree. If I'll add your name to it. So question number 12. Moving on. Having made a choice, it is always possible that one might have chosen otherwise. No. I technically don't really... No. No, I would say no. Now, if it's rude. This is basically asking the question of free will. Do you believe in free will? No, I don't believe in fate. I'm more of a determinist. I believe that... Fuck, okay, how do I even explain this? And I can be I can be like changing my mind on this because I might be thinking about this in like a different way. But I believe that like what's the phrase for it? I think that there's a for when it comes to free will. I don't think that we have it. I think that a lot of the choices that we have is very dependent on, one, how we grew up, two, our memory, three, like what we know, like our knowledge of things. 12 agree. I don't believe in free will. There's a certain part of free will that I do believe in. I think the closest thing that you can get to free will is believing that you don't have free will, because then you can actually start to influence your choices based on what you want to do right now, and kind of playing chess with yourself so that you can kind of have some control into the future. So what I mean by this is, if you have a person who believes in free will and they say, well, I can smoke one cigarette and I'm not going to be addicted. Don't worry, I have free will. I can just stop whenever I want to. That person is going to have less control over his life because nicotine is addictive, and he's going to be smoking probably for the rest of his life if he continues to believe in that path, as opposed to a person who says, no, I don't believe I have any free will, and so if I smoke this, I'm going to be addicted to it, and so therefore I'm choosing in the future of me not smoking cigarettes because I know right now that if I start now that I can't, like, I'm going to be able to do that. Choices are matters of practicality versus preference, in my opinion. So I would depend, if all circumstances are the same, how would you choose different if I presented exactly the same? I proved that wrong. I quit as well. Used to smoke cigarettes and could go weeks without them. Yeah. So, and that's just like one example. So like the whole point is just that, I don't know if there's like an executive, like, or how executive our brain power really is. Some people are some people are more predisposed. So I would say, to answer UTL, I would say that the people who are more predisposed to smoking cigarettes for the rest of their lives are the people who don't believe or don't have the knowledge that the cigarettes are fucking them up inside. Your choice to stop smoking probably has something to do with you wanting to take care of yourself better, or like the knowledge of what it does, or like just how you live like in the past. I think we always act in our own interest, whatever that means. Or what we believe is our own interest, yes. I expected better. Yeah, it is weird questions. So, Bodhi, you said you would agree as well. They made you feel sick. So, the fact that it made you feel sick, was that your choice? Did you choose to get sick from smoking cigarettes? So what I argue is that the fact that the cigarettes made you sick is what led you to stop smoking them, not your willpower. It's not as if like there was some kind of, I'm gonna will my way out of this. People who smoke and they don't have, what's your main goal in that question? It really depends on circumstance. And that one sentence right there, it really depends on circumstance, is the reason why I don't believe in free will. It depends on the circumstance. It doesn't depend on you. I might be given the same choices in different contexts and choose differently either. What my belief is, if you had those two same choices in two different the contexts are what makes it different. If the circumstances are the same, like you're going to, like for me, I believe that you're going to choose the same. But some people do want to quit, and they do. That's as far as a false binary. I agree. Yeah. So when like the people who want to quit cigarettes have reasons why they want to quit smoking cigarettes. Like the thing that I would say is that there's like, we live in a very cause and effect universe. There's a cause to everything. We may not understand all of the causes from environmental beliefs and everything. They're all factors. But I'm saying if you had all of those factors being the same thing, you're going to pick the one thing. It's like an equation. You're going to pick that one thing over and over again. If you have the same exact factors. So if you have, if some of those factors are different, wouldn't no one quit then? Since no, that's not. So what you're describing is biological. I'm not saying that biology would outweigh anything. I think the environment and biology are as much as factors equally. So I'm not like a genetic realness. I don't believe that people might be born in a certain way, and then like they're just going to be predisposed to do it for the rest of their lives. I believe in like like all of the environmental factors and all of the biology factors both play a role in what your actions are. They're not, you can't separate those two, because then you're not like, yeah, you're kind of changing the definition of like the like circumstance. It's like I said in like a few chats ago. I'm saying like the circumstance is really, it really depends on the circumstance. If the circumstances were the same, then yeah. So like, I definitely believe that we have the ability to guide our preferences. These there's external influence, sure, but it's not like a 50-50 thing. No, I don't believe it's a 50-50 thing. I think sometimes it's a 80-20 thing. Sometimes it's a 90-10 thing. I can give you the money. I can give you the money this book costs. Sorry I recommended it. Should have done more research. Don't. No, it was not that expensive. Don't worry. You've already given me the money by donating. All right. You don't need to give me any money. Yeah. The discussion at the very least is good, right? We're not even worried about these answers. The discussion is good enough. Okay. But okay. We can do like so. One thing we can do, we're not gonna be talking about things in depth with all of these questions. So I'll add free will as like a topic for future streams. Yeah, it's a discussion piece. Well, that's what I'm kind of doing. Like I'm kind of making it so that we can actually at least discuss of it. We don't have to talk about free will like in this stream. We can. We have a stream just for free will. I'll let you read up on your position. I'll kind of refine mine because I did look into free will, and we can talk about it like at a later date, right? But it'll be very interesting. We'll see though. We'll see. Let's try to run through these things faster, as people. We have 20, like over 20 more questions, or not even that. We have a few more questions, but all right. Question number 13. It is not always right to judge individuals solely on their merits. Jeez. Please tell me to move on when necessary. I can talk about each question ad nauseam. Yeah, same here. I'm gonna, for the sake of argument, I'm gonna try and define merits. Let's assume that there is a right. Okay, so merit is the quality of being particularly good or worthy, deserve. Morally right. Okay, listen, I know we can break down every question to like because I know this like it really, I don't know when this book was made. I don't know if it has like a date on it. Seems like a really old book because I agree with the language, because I feel like every question I've had to like break down like what the question is, and like, yeah, I know that there's a, depending on like the morality of it, and yeah, objectivity is impossible. Yeah, so it's not always right to judge a person solely on their merits. Objectivity is impossible. Yeah, I would agree. Mostly because of language. This must be why I'm having. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's okay. All right, it's all right. It is not always right to judge individuals solely on their merits. So, it's like, yeah. Yeah, I would say I agree as well. I gotta look at, hold on a second. Let me. Okay. So, merits. Can we say that merits is like just means the good things that you do? I guess I'll go X. Okay. we're gonna run down these things. So I'm very curious about what this book is gonna grade us on. All right, y'all think about these questions as much as possible. We're gonna try. All right, we're gonna try. Question number 14. Judgments about works of art are purely matters of taste. Agree. I'm gonna try to do the easy ones. On bodily death, a person continues to exist in a non-physical form. I guess I would have to agree. Or wait, no, agree, right? So, Bodhi and T. So when I say the way that I'm thinking, I'm gonna answer these questions. So no. Okay, how I'm answering these questions are literally like where my mind is at in philosophy. The way that I define a person is like you're like a personhood, like a soul or kind of thing. So even if a person remembers you, that's a non-physical form. So of course they of course they exist in memory. I'm gonna just see it if I'm consistent. So like with my beliefs, which it should, right? So I don't necessarily believe in like a soul. I don't believe in the soul, but I believe that personhood is a concept that you give yourself to begin with. So if a person thinks about you, then as a memory, you're still a person, but you just don't have a physical form. Uncertain. Hey, that's all right. We're not trying to fix inconsistencies of beliefs tonight. That would be like that's a hard thing. But T, you said agree on number 15 too, right? Okay, yep, 15. Yeah, I'm trying to like answer these questions in the way that I understand them and how I define things, and see if they would actually still say that I'm being inconsistent or something. I need a third column. You're just gonna make Bodhi. Oh no, we can't even do that. We're just make a new blank document for Bodhi. Just put Bodhi in there. It's a shrug emote, like, I guess. The government. Question number 16. The government should not permit the sale of health treatments which have not been tested for efficacy and safety. I agree. If it hasn't been tested, no. Government shouldn't, because the government's kind of sponsoring the health treatments in a way. So I don't know. Just think of the ideal world. Ideally, okay. Yeah, whenever there's questions that say should, that usually means ideally. Actually, ideally, medicine companies would be responsible. True. Yeah. Okay. That's true. Wow, that was. You wanna try again? Try again on that one. Okay. It's just a poor business model to kill your customers. I agree. That's a lot of a simple concept than most of these questions. There are no objective truths about matters of fact. Truth is always relative to particular cultures and individuals. And what do you mean by truths? It's like, okay, agreeing, like, I'm going to be simple and say truth is just like the sky is blue. Like when we looked at the sky, we see a blue sky via qualia. So qualia is like the actual experience of seeing a blue sky. If another person sees the same blue sky but says that it's not blue, it's purple, and that's blue is what I call purple, it's still blue. So we're gonna say that. Agree. Keep it simple, right? And Rogue, truth is just like your opinion, man. Yeah. Jaha. Hey, we live in that world right now. Like people, like truth is literally just your opinion, man. Like it is. If green looks orange to me, then what do we do? Shit. Okay. Well. Shit. How do we even know, man? So what if we see just different colors? Shit. Well, color is not even okay. So I take that back. Color is not objective. So maybe like an objective matter of fact, because we do see different colors. Like if we had aliens visit us, there's a very real possibility that they would see colors way differently than we do. So colors is not like tangent time. Tangent time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fuck. Okay. I probably like. I'm tempted to say no, but like matters of fact. Yeah, I'm gonna be safe and just say agree. Okay. Like I can see the other argument for people saying disagree, but would you say agree too as well, Rogue? Oh God. But the other argument, if a person disagrees and say no, there are objective facts. Well, first of all, I don't believe that there are any, like, you could, like, objectivity. Like, it's kind of impossible to. Yeah. Oh fuck. Okay. The more I think about this, the more it's like it's just going down the rabbit hole. We're gonna try and keep it simple, okay? The women. I mean, there are these women that see extra colors. True. I hope you guys. I'm sorry. I hope you guys fucking agree with this. All right? If you don't agree with this, I don't know why you're in my chat. I don't know why. Proper sanitation and medicines are generally good for a society. Unless you believe in like natural health, like we need to get as sick as possible so that we get immune to a lot of diseases. Like unless you're like that's the only argument I can see, that sanitizing everything means that you're not exposed to as much of the bacteria, and so you get like a weaker immune system. So I think that's what they're for to agree. I imagine that's who's gonna say no. I think that's the kind of person who says no, who thinks that by living in like a very, very clean place, we're not going to have like a good immune system. We do live in a science denying culture though, so who knows? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But you can like having proper sanitation is good, like still, because you can still like get like truck up all those bacteria. You can play in the mud if you want to. It's just that the sanitation and medicines are going to help you recover from any sickness that you get from eating mud pies. Like, come on. It's not like, geez, who I now I take that back. There's no good reason. There's no good reason to be opposed to this. What the fuck? Proper sanitation and cause problems. Yeah. Question number 20. In certain circumstances, it might be desirable to discriminate positively in favor of a person as recompense for harms done to him or her in the past. I need to look up the word recompense. I don't know what that word means. Hold on a second. I mean compensation. Like, if it means the same as compensation, I'm good. I'm just gonna make sure. To make amends. Okay, to compensate. It just means to compensate. Okay. To make up for. Okay. So let's read that question again slowly, because that was a weird question. In certain circumstances, it might be desirable. Why use the word desirable? Or why use the word discriminate? I agree. It might be desirable to discriminate positively in favor of a person as recompense for harms done to him or her in the past. Who are mad about reparations? Yeah. The word you just okay, I need help, chat. Okay. Can someone rephrase this question that makes sense to me? I'm looking at this question, I'm like, what the like, is it asking like, would a person find it desirable to discriminate? Maybe, probably. Like, but like, is it right? Like, no one can. Oh god. This fucking book. Let's see. Okay. Are reparations desirable in certain circumstances? Yes. Like if they just. Oh, are they mad about affirmative action? Yeah. Or that legit though how it sounds like. We don't know who wrote this book, T. You might have recommended a book for like a couple Christians who are like trying to like we don't know. We might get like a very bad grade at the end of the score. So in the term that Bodhi put it, are reparations desirable in certain circumstances? Yes. Then I would say obviously. I don't know why they would use the word discriminate. Like if they're talking about giving black people like reparations, I don't know. Like yeah. Main reason why I'll be answering this question, agree though, is because desirable. They use the word desirable. Is it like if something bad happens to someone, do they deserve to be treated well? Hold on a second. Yeah, well, I would agree still. Yeah, I think everyone should be treated well, not just if. Maybe that's what it's asking. In certain circumstances, to discriminate positively in favor of a person. It might be. What's the definition of bad? I don't know what the definition of bad is when it comes to these questions here. I'll agree for now. Anyone who wants to skip this question, we can skip this question. I agree for 20, I guess. Jesus. I'm losing it. Okay. Question number 21. Answer all these questions whenever you want to, by the way. And while Squirrel Rogue is still thinking about question number, what was it? 11. He's still thinking about, like, what the fuck did they mean by just a war? Of course it's just a war by definition. It's just a war. Like, war is war. Like, what the fuck do they mean by that? Like, he's probably still thinking about that. Alternative and complementary medicines are valuable as mainstream medicine. I'm still on 3. No, wait. Complementary medicines. No, I would argue that alternative and complementary medicines, the fact that they're alternative, means it hasn't been tested as much, or at least there's not as much as a body of knowledge out there for it. So it's not as good. It doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's not as good or as valuable. Well, maybe. Well, it doesn't say good. It says as valuable. Shit. That's curious. Okay, so. Indeed. Okay. I'm not anti-vaxxer. Yeah. When they say as valuable, it's like generally speaking. So there might be some alternative medicines that are just as valuable, but generally speaking. Also, I posted 13 and 14 somewhere in the thread. Oh, okay. So for me, I would say disagree. It's a lot of medicine. It's okay to have alternatives, but to weigh in on the same scale as a huge body of scientists. Okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. So a lot of nature does come from nature. I don't think essential oils are out here saving lives. Yeah. So like when it comes to essential oils and stuff like that, I don't think it's as valuable for sure. I don't think they should be on like Agora said. Shouldn't be on the same scale of it. But if you want to do it or try it as long as it doesn't harm you, then go for it. But you should probably rely more on mainstream medicine, assuming that something like vaccinations are good. Like I don't like. Generally speaking, there might be some cases, of course, some anecdotal stories that are like, oh yeah, well actually in this case, alternative medicine was better or more valuable. But I think mainstream medicine are more studied. You can see the effects of it most, at the very least, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. So question number 2. Severe brain damage can rob a person of all consciousness and selfhood. Do you mean, are you explaining death to me? Like if a person dies, that can rob a person from consciousness and selfhood? Yes. Yeah. I mean, good, sure. I'm not authority to a brain damage one. I'm not sure on that one, yeah. I just like, some of these questions are weird. So Bodhi says, sure. Um. Well, we do have to think about this question a little bit differently. Okay, so here's a caveat of number 2 or 22. Is this saying that if you have severe brain damage, then you become a different person? If that's the case, then I will have to take back my answer and say you don't lose your selfhood. You just get another one. You just have another self. No. I will have to disagree then. If I'm being very thorough with number 22, being very thorough, a severe down, like I'm sure that this question is assuming a soul, or in some ways that you still have your soul. I just think that you, like, if you wake up after brain damage, then actually, yeah, hold on a second, yeah, if you meet, yeah, if brain damage, as in if you die, yeah, it would rob your life. Yeah, no, I will say I'll agree. Actually, yeah, hold on a second. I don't know what they mean by consciousness. I mean, gonna guess that they mean, like, yeah. I mean, fuck. Was this written in 2005? I'm willing to bet that is 2025. 2120 is agree. I don't know. Let me see. This book is written in London. Well, it was published in London at the very least. You're very close. It's written or published in 2006. So it's probably written in 2005 or 2004, and it was published on 2006. So you're very fucking close. You're basically spot on, because it couldn't. Yeah, it takes a while for a book to be published. Made me think of the whole Terry Schiavolo case. That's why I asked, because that was in 2005. Okay. I'm not sure. I don't know about that case actually. But we're not gonna go on a tangent. I was just thinking about, I should Google that. I should actually look at that case. But yeah, does it feel a lot leading? For Tiela, would you say that it's agree or disagree for number 22? Okay, so 23, to allow an innocent child to suffer needlessly when one could easily prevent it is morally reprehensible. Yeah. I guess I disagree with 22. Okay. It all depends on what they mean on some of these questions. It really does. So for me, I would say needlessly, yeah. Could have easily. So this is leading question. Okay, so this is like the leading part of the question. If you could easily prevent it, is morally reprehensible? You disagree? Sure. Oh, okay. So wait. So Tiela, are you saying like wait? Am I reading this wrong? Hold on a second. To allow an innocent child to suffer needlessly, when one could easily is morally reprehensible. So is a bad thing. Like, hold on a second. I'm going off on a small tangent with that one by commenting on the phrase innocent child. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, so if you ask a question like that, hold on a second. Let me think about this for a little bit. Okay, we're almost done. We have 7 more questions to go. But would I mitigate suffering? Okay, so there is that perspective. I try to answer the question like as easily as possible. So in life, we all suffer unnecessarily, right? So like that is a lesson. Like as a child, like there's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna like suffer in life unnecessarily for. And so like as a kid, will you allow them to suffer? If you could, you know what? I agree. No, I mean I disagree. It's not okay. Yeah. But wait, but they use the word needlessly. So like, what the fuck? Okay, so hold on a second, because you could say that a child needs to suffer once in a while unnecessarily to learn the lesson that life is sometimes like that, right? Pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. This is a fucking hard question, actually. Now that I thought it was just gonna be like, oh yeah, for sure, I agree, it's morally, yeah. But now I don't think I will at least disagree that it's not morally reprehensible to let a child suffer needlessly, depending on what it means by suffering. So I'll put X for me. We aren't taught how to cope with a cope a lot of the time, though, so the suffering comes. I don't think anyone is obligated to help. Yeah, so the question would, do you think a person is like morally reprehensible for a person to like suffer, for a child to suffer? You could just disagree. So like I actually will disagree with this. I was thinking about like, because the tricky word that they put in this question is needlessly. I think kids do need to suffer. You have to ask 15 more questions to answer one of the half answer this question. I think I disagree. This questionnaire is gonna fucking destroy us. No one knows what he means. By the way, this is literally what the everything looks like. We have normalized suffering instead of trying to figure out how to solve it. So, okay. Let's go on this tangent for a little bit, okay? And I might be wrong. Alright, so like please let I acknowledge that. So I'm not being like, okay. I think that suffering is it's not really the fact that suffering is necessary. I think suffering is really, really just a part of life, and I think there are I think by having people suffer, like a child, like everyone needs to suffer in the sense that they need to understand what it's like for other people to suffer, if that makes sense. This one hits home. I apologize for emotionality. No, it's okay. So like it's kind of like if you ever seen Naruto, okay? Like this is like the 14 I'm deep where it all comes from. In Naruto, like Pain talking about how like pain helps us to like connect with each other and everything. I think that's partially true. I think that shared suffering, and this is actually a real thing, because like in philosophy, in psychology, shared suffering does help people to bring it together. I don't think that we're ever going to live in a world where there is no suffering. I don't think that. I think life is hard, and so I think that there's some suffering that is not good. I don't think it's good for people to suffer. I think it's just the fact that people will suffer. And so in order for a person to understand another person's suffering, or at the very least for people to have more empathy for other people's suffering, you might have to have some kind of suffering yourself so that you can be more open to it. Because if you have like a kid who's raised up and he has never suffered in his life, he's been given like the golden or silver spoon, he's never gotten like a cut or anything, and he's just like perfect fucking life, he's never suffered at all. If you put him in the same room with a person who might have suffered, say like abuse, he might see that abuse as like alien to him, whereas like, oh well, can't you kind of just get over it? Or like, why is that so bad? You seem okay today. The capacity for love is proportional to the depth of knowledge of knowing. Yeah, there does need to be a capacity for love, or at the very least, when I hear the word love, I define love as the wanting for the well-being of other people. And so I think that suffering is, I just think that suffering is a part of life. I don't know how a world or how a person would look like if if I think everyone suffers. No. I'm not saying to expose a kid to suffering. I'm not saying to like throw your kid into like a damaging or abusive relationship with another guy, but to the fact that it's just going to happen. So like if your kid doesn't suffer, if for whatever reason, I've never heard of such a kid, if if your kid doesn't suffer, like he's like, he loves his vegetables, he loves his greens, he loves doing everything, right? Don't fucking punch him in the face and be like, that's what pain is. So that's what pain is, son. You understand that, right? Other people feel that pain. You're gonna have to grow up. And like you don't have to, like, pain is not something that you have to inflict on someone. It is something that's gonna happen in their life. Don't beat them, but don't hide it from them either. If everyone, don't beat your kid. So generally speaking, when it comes to beating your kid, I don't believe in beating kids. That's not the kind of suffering or the pain. That's not the kind of suffering or pain that you should teach your child. The kind of suffering or pain that you should get your kid familiar to is like just regular pain. Like if let's just say this, we're making an analogy. Let's just say that your daughter is dating a like a guy in middle school, and the guy that your daughter is dating texts you, the father, and says, hey, I want to break up with your daughter, but I can't do it, so like please tell me, just please let her know that like I don't want to be together with her anymore. I just can't do it in front of her. So as a father, you should not then like pay another person to pretend to be the boyfriend of that girl, of your daughter, so that she doesn't suffer. Right? If that happens, you should, like, I mean, that's probably, I don't know how good of an analogy that is, but like, don't try to hide it. So like, as a society, like probably Bodhi's like explaining it better than I am. As a society, we try to hide it. As kids, we're growing up, that's very rare an option. Yeah, kids and bubbles, future tyrants. That's what I'm saying. Right, so like, you don't protect your kids. Like if your girl or your daughter's boyfriend breaks up with your daughter and he only told you about it, don't pay a person to pretend to be his, or don't like let them process the breakup. The better way, we do try to hide it. We also have shit mental health resources too. We do have that. So 23 agree, disagree, yeah. Oh, if you deny your daughter birth control and gets pregnant, it's 100% your fault. Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, I feel like that's really it. Yeah. All right. So glad we cleared that up. So like, to allow innocent child to suffer needlessly, and the needlessly is really like the killer question, which might kill it. All right, let's move on. All right. The environment should not be damaged unnecessarily in the pursuit of humans. Yeah, I agree. Because, well, just by science, in the laws of physics, we do live in second law of thermodynamics. So you have to take energy from somewhere. Yeah, you have to take energy from somewhere to like do whatever, right? If you use electricity, you're still damaging it. But like, I agree, like, I know what, so mitigate, yes. So this is like the word in this question. I'm gonna start highlighting the words that are actually making it confusing as fuck. Damaged. That's why it said unnecessary. That's how I took it. To pad the building down. Okay. A second. Yeah, no, fuck those pockets. Let me think about this question for a little bit and then we'll move on for the 24. Okay, so the environment should not be damaged unnecessarily in the pursuit of human ends. Okay, well, something like that is unavoidable. So yeah, I can see why you disagree. Okay, yeah. Ah, man, this is a fucking weird question, dude. If they use the word, if they said the environment should be mitigated to be damaged, then I would agree. So hold on a second. Oh no. Oh fuck it. I have to answer yes. Well, I have to. Well, but then they use the word should, like should the environment, like as if there's a moral weight behind it. Meaning, are you for people damaging the earth like unnecessarily? But the human ends is so vague. Okay, so should the environment so should a person, like, I don't know, fucking like I'll say yes for this. So that's efficient, but the smoke is bad for the environment. Yes. No, it's okay. It's yeah. These questions, they're not phrased in the best of ways. Oh, fucking Michelangelo. I have to disagree. I know might just be proof, but like of something, but it says something deeper. But I don't know. I know that I've seen some of his artwork, but I honestly don't know. Because I've never seen. He was a meme lore spoil brat. So this is just personal. Okay, so this feels like just a personal subjectiveness. There's a subjectiveness to this question that I don't know how it fits or where it fits to anything. Is there? Oh, your search. Oh, Michelangelo is one of. I would agree. Sistine Chapel, he wrote that for his time. So that's another thing, because it's subjective. For his time, for Michelangelo's time, was he one of the finest artists? I would say for his time. So history's, because that's the word for it. So history's finest artist. One of, I agree. Okay, so I'll agree. I think Rogue agreed. All of history. Right, yeah, but T, because Egypt does have like amazing art that I think more amazing art than Michelangelo's, but I think it like the thing is one of history's finest arts. So not like the best. And yeah, that's probably one of the things that's gonna we're gonna rip on these questions in a bit. It was par for his time. All right, we're so close, people. Let's focus. We're almost through this. Goodness. Individuals have sole rights over their own bodies, of course. Actually, no, I do believe in Cthulhu. Cthulhu actually owns all of your bodies. All right, like I can only imagine that everyone's gonna. So yeah, sure. I don't want to say anything. And Rogue, if you answer, like, there's that. I would assume that you would say. Well, yeah, I would assume that you say. Acts of genocide stand as testament to man's ability to do great evil. Hell yes. Yep. Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm catching it, because I don't want to assume anything. I want to make sure that I'm getting y'all reasons and responses. So I'm not sure. Evil, the original definition of evil is suffering. So like things that cause suffering. So does it cause suffering? Like is the ability to do is the ability to cause great suffering. But yeah, evil is a terrible world. The Holocaust is the historical reality which took place more or less as the history books report. What the fuck? Wait. I agree that the Holocaust happened. Why did it say... Okay, well, okay. We're not gonna judge. Agree. With the way that it uses more or less, I know. I know. I don't trust history books, so no. Agree. Fuck. When they say history books, don't take it literal. So history books, let's just say how people history in general. Like, think of the best historian about, like, I guess. So you don't agree? Okay. Oof, but more or less might be it. You think it happened, but like, yeah, maybe it's not super fucking accurate, which is why it uses like more or less, I guess. Who's the author? Arthur's two Arthurs, Julian Bagani and Jeremy Stagroom is his name. Okay. Governments should be allowed to increase taxes sharply to save lives in the developing world. I gotta think about this question. I want to say yes, but yeah, but you would be taxing the billionaires. It depends on who you tax. I'm going to disagree because it's a poorly worded question. I'm going to say no, because if you talk about taxing regular people, then no. If you talk about taxing billionaires, then 100% yes. Oh, and you say 229. Hey, listen, this book is written in fucking 2005. Okay. Oh my god, I need to look up the author. Okay, so don't come for me first. I'll go for the race. Yeah. So like you could go either way with this. To tax anyone they want? No, but taxing. Disagree. It is weird. We'll see. We're almost there. We're almost to the end. Final question. The future is fixed. How one's life unfolds is a matter of destiny. I don't even believe that the future fucking exists. I don't believe that the future exists, but for the sake of the question, I think what it's trying to ask is because whenever I think about the future, it's like the future is like a like the whole point of like a future is like, especially in psychology, is that it's possibilities. Like if it does exist as a concept, the future is a possibility. It's not necessarily what's going to happen, because when it happens, it's the present. Like maybe I'm thinking about these questions too particularly, and you disagree as well, Rogue. Yeah, the future and past. I agree. The future and the past, they don't exist, and so like, no one writes the future. No, so I would disagree too. I would disagree with this. Fuck. Now, if you ask me, hold on a second. I think it might be asking if you believe in no free will, does that mean that everything is fixed? No. Because things are always in fluctuation, and yeah, okay, whatever. What do you think, Bodiogora? What do you think about this question? You agree or disagree with this? This is really... I'm gonna have to disagree, okay. Now, let me explain something. Okay, so this is how the scoring guidelines be. Alright. These questions themselves are not deep. The reason why it took us like basically 2 hours to go over this is because they asked the questions too poorly, to the point where we had to do the work for this book and figure out what they mean by their questions. So bear that in mind. Okay. Going to scoring guidelines. Into the scoring guidelines.